When Bill gets back from the water fountain, he sees Sam with a smile on his face as well as some of his pudding. Bill is mad and sad. I would be too. I love pudding. And if you've ever seen the movie Billy Madison, a snack pack might be the greatest thing you could ever put in a school lunch. Welcome to your classroom coffee break. I'm John Van Dusen, longtime teacher, coach, and Army officer. And in this episode, I want you to stop saying you're sorry. I'm repurposing a blog post that I wrote back in 2021, February 2021. So it was a very different time in our country at that point. At that time, my son was 10. I'm teaching 8th graders. So I see a lot of things happen that need to be apologized for, but I'm also seeing some very terrible apologies. So again, that's where this blog post comes from. So let's get after it. The title is Stop Saying I'm Sorry. Before you demand an apology from me, read on. I didn't say stop apologizing. I said stop saying I'm sorry. There is a more meaningful way to apologize. Let's use an example to drive this point home. Sam and Bill are both 3rd graders in the same class. Sam walks over to Bill's desk, takes his pudding cup, and starts eating it. When Bill gets back from the water fountain, he sees Sam with a smile on his face as well as some of his pudding. Bill is mad and sad. I would be too. I love pudding. And if you've ever seen the movie Billy Madison, a snack pack might be the greatest thing you could ever put in a school lunch. Bill starts crying, and their teacher walks over to investigate. After about 7 seconds, the truth is clear. The teacher reprimands Sam, and he tucks his chin into his chest with a scowl on his face and says, "I'm sorry," and walks away. Bill is still crying. Sam is upset that he got yelled at, and nothing has been rectified. On top of that, Bill and Sam will probably not be friends for the rest of the day. Sam apologized, but it didn't mean anything. He said it because he knew he was supposed to, but it didn't have any meaning, feeling, or sincerity behind it. It was a fire and forget apology that did nothing to show remorse, support of healing of Bill, or mend their friendship, or even give him back a pudding cup. When something happens where an apology is warranted, there is usually a power imbalance in which the person who did the wrong thing took power away from whoever was wronged. In this case, Sam took power away from Bill by taking his pudding cup and eating it. Bill was wronged by Sam. Let's see how we can remedy this power imbalance by having Sam apologize in a more meaningful way. Sam says to Bill, "Bill, please forgive me for taking your pudding cup and eating it." Sam, who originally had the power advantage, just tipped the scale in Sam's direction by the way he worded his apology. Sam is now at the mercy of Bill and his choice to forgive him or not to forgive him. Even though he will not get his pudding cup back, the ball is now in his court and he gets to make the decision, not Sam. He did not have a choice to eat his pudding cup. The choice was taken away from him. But he does have a choice now. The scale was tipped in Bill's favor until he makes the choice to balance it again by forgiving Sam. How we apologize and forgive each other can be very shallow, with the fire and forget form of "I'm sorry," or it can be meaningful and sincere by shifting the power imbalance to the injured person and allowing them to shift the scale back to 0. By placing meaning, feeling, and sincerity behind an apology, it will also speed up the healing process and let us get back to being friends and hopefully eating pudding. Try this technique the next time you have to apologize for something. You will feel a twinge of uneasiness as you realize you have given up all power on whether you will be forgiven or not. That decision is not up to you. It is up to the person you wronged. So again, you can do the fire and forget apology of "I'm sorry," right? You can say that as you're walking away. You can say it where people don't even hear it, and it's completely meaningless. But by saying something to the effect of "please forgive me," you're now taking that and you're putting the ball in their court. They have the choice if they're going to forgive you or not. And it's uneasy. And I've seen this uneasiness a lot with my son, with my middle schoolers, where they're asking for someone to forgive them and that other person might not. Well, then what? It's not up to them, then what? The point is they have wronged somebody and in some way created a power imbalance. And by putting the choice to forgive or not to forgive on the person they wronged, they're tipping that power imbalance in the other direction. So another point I'd like to make on the "I'm sorry" talk is I hear people apologize all the time for things that aren't their fault. I'm guilty of it too. Maybe my wife comes home after a rough day of work and says that this happened, this happened, this happened. And my initial response is, I'm sorry, even though it had nothing to do with me. So I think a lot of people will use that as a way of showing empathy. I see it in my classroom all the time too. Somebody will do something or say something and somebody else will apologize for it, even though it had nothing to do with them. And I think that also takes away from the sincerity of the simple I'm sorry apology. And people use it all the time. It's overused. So I'd like to hear in the comments below what you think about this difference in the way to apologize. Is it something just superficial that I am muddying the waters and making a mountain out of a molehill? Or do you think it's something that is actually beneficial? Let me know down below. And if you got any value out of this episode, please like, share, and share with your friends so they can make the next classroom coffee break.